Hey everyone, today I am back on the road for my first ever game as a level 4 referee. Now what does that mean? So being a level 4 referee means I can referee on step 5 and 6 and be an assistant referee on step 3 and 4. So when we look at the pyramid for English football, step 5 and 6 is the 9th and 10th division, that's what I can referee at, and step 3 and 4 is the 7th and 8th division, so all the way down from the Premier League down here. Now that might feel really low, but actually to be a level 4 you have to be in the top 5% of referees in the country. So it's kind of crazy, and it just shows how big the pyramid system is in England, that to referee in the 10th division and the 9th division you have to be in the top 5%, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, come along with me for the ride today. I'm excited. Hopefully I can perform well and not look like it's my first game. That's the ultimate goal. Today is all about being kind of safe refereeing, kind of not looking like I'm out of my depth, working with neutral assistants, so that'll be awesome to lead a team of 2 other official referees, and yeah, let's see how we get on. I've got my brand new kit that the FA have just given us for being a level 4 referee, with the FA match official badge, so buzzing to wear that for the first time. Then I'll have my Apple Watch with REFSIX on it, of course. I'll wear this to the game, so it doesn't go in my kit bag. And then for today, which will be the first time I've ever used them, I've got some buzzer flags. So these are the Overcoms. I probably prefer the touchline flags, but a friend of mine was selling these fairly cheap, so I couldn't say no. So these will go to my assistants, and then I'll be wearing the receiver in this kind of tube grip sock. So first time I've ever used them, interesting to see. Always found it weird, like an extra thing to kind of carry and get uncomfortable when you're on, but so that's that. They don't fit in the bag, unfortunately, so they're gonna go separate. And that's the kit. So I'm just going to add the game into REFSIX now. Now what I'm super excited about today is we've got this new feature that's coming out soon. I'm testing it out today in my first game, which will be the scanning feature. So this allows me to input to use the camera to scan the team sheet. So at this level, we still get a paper copy of the team sheet, and pretty much 99% of the time it's handwritten. So we've built a scanning feature to allow us to scan the team sheet. It's not going to be perfect, but let's see how we get on, and I'll show you exactly how well it does later on. If the keeper's off the line, if the ball goes in the back of the net, it's fine. If he saves it, give me a buzz and let me make a decision. Yeah. Let me make a decision, then I'll either go, or if it's really blatant, then we can go with it. But if you buzz down here, then I can make a decision. And that's for me, I do that. And the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds roll over the hills, bringing darkness from. So here's a new AI team sheet scanner. You just quickly take a snap of the team sheet once you get it from the clubs. The AI does its magic, and then it fills in the team sheet for you. Just have a quick scan of it afterwards. It's just made a couple of spelling mistakes that I could tweak, but overall that saved me a load of time. So here we go, we have Forley against Ash United, who both play in the Wessex League Division 1. They're sitting pretty close to the bottom of the table in 17th and 18th respectively. So I'm expecting a fiery competitive game, and let's see how it goes. First thing to notice is I'm standing fairly deep into the defensive half. I can see these 3 attackers for blue lining up on the right hand side, so I'm expecting the ball to go back and then ping forward, just exactly how it does. So I've started in a little bit more of an advanced position just to be in line with the drop zone. Nothing really came of it here. Feeling quite excited and nervous, trying to put the occasion to the back of my mind and just trying to officiate the game. And really, for the first kind of 8 minutes, nothing happened. There was a few movements in up and down the pitch in territory, no real shots, a few goal kicks, a few throw-ins. I felt my position was quite narrow, and that's something I definitely need to work in going into my next game. But coming up to 8 minutes is where the first big decision happens. And I'm going to just play it through and let you watch it a couple of times before talking you through my thought process through the incident. So you've seen it a few times now. This is 8 minutes into the game. This is the first foul of the game. I'd like you to pause the video if you can and leave a comment below on what you think I should do next. When I watched this clip back, I actually thought there was quite a lot to it, so I even shared it in my local RA meeting, and this was the reaction. So first things first, I need to ensure the player's okay. I go over to the player, see if he needs treatment. He says yes, so I call on the physio. This just gives me an extra few seconds to replay the incident back in my mind. And there's a few things to think about here. First one, is it serious foul play? Now, I've got a really good view. I wouldn't say I'm in the best position, but I actually got lucky and got a good view. And the contact was glancing. It was no excessive force, so it met my threshold for reckless, but not excessive. So I was thinking yellow for reckless. But now the big decision here is this dogzo? Does the player have control of the ball? Are there any covering defenders? What's their distance to the goal? And in my opinion, the only one that was questionable for me was, are they likely to gain control of the ball? And to me, there was enough doubt to go yellow. Watching it back, I think it's a lot closer than maybe I thought in the game. But having spoken to a variety of different people, I've had a load of different responses. Some think it's yellow, some think it's red for dogzo, some even said serious foul play. I think the video doesn't help in that aspect, but I decided to give myself a bit of time. I thought all of those steps through, and I ended up with a yellow card for reckless play. But as I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Talk me through your process in the comments. Let me know if you think I was correct here or not. I don't think I'm also helped with the player reaction. It was pretty light. Like, there was no expectation from the players that this should be anything more than a yellow. But let me know.
Henry, go and do that. Henry, listen! Go and do that. Mark him. Yeah, Will go right. Get tight together. Good.
So moving on a few more minutes, we've got a defensive free kick for offside. The ball gets played up long and 2 players go up for a fair challenge, in my opinion, but there is a head injury. So as soon as I see there's a head injury, I stop the play, go over again to the player and see if he needs a physio. Now, what I'm feeling a bit of frustration from the players, because this is probably the 4th or 5th time I've had the trainers on. So the game is getting a bit stop-start, and that frustration is coming to boil. What I needed to understand here is how to restart play. Now, as you'll see, that I stopped play, or I blew the whistle while the ball was wildly high in the air, and I decided to give a drop ball back to the defensive team as such a safe option here. Again, that caused me some little bit of aggro from the red team, but correct in law in this decision. So now we're in the 19th minute. I've seen a collision by a few different players. I think it's fair and expected football. And then the skippers come in for a challenge. And I see blue number 8 come slightly over the ball and connect fairly high up the leg with red. It wasn't, again, excessive force, but it was definitely reckless. It didn't help that from the previous collision, there was a blue player down. So I've got, again, another 2 trainers here coming on. Stopping the game again, but what can you do when reckless challenges go in? So I've called over the skipper and just explained what I've seen, to his dismay a little bit, but very happy again with the yellow card here for reckless play. So now Red have got the ball, they've switched to play, and they're going to make a move down the left-hand side. It's a cut back in and a shot by the striker, and the keeper has palmed it behind for a corner. Now, watching it back, and this is actually something that's been picked up in an observation, I've blown my whistle for a corner. I think it's so obvious it doesn't need the whistle. Let's save the whistle for when we really want to get attention. So now we have a corner. I'm watching. There's not a huge amount of pushing and shoving, so I don't really need to get involved in the goalmouth action. Just sit back quietly and observe, and the ball comes in, and Red Ash United go ahead 1-0. So we now have a little bit later on in the half, Forley breaking from their goalkeeper. Number 6 for Red comes across and makes a late challenge on number 11 for Blue. I've seen the challenge and played an advantage, and the ball carries on down the line and goes out for a throw. Now 6 has had a couple of challenges now, so I've called him over and just warned him that I've seen a couple of little careless challenges and that he needs to be careful going forward. And luckily this intervention actually stopped 6 from getting a card for the rest of the game. So just before half-time, the ball gets played up into the left-back position for Forley, and you'll see number 9 come in and make a late challenge. My assistant gives me the first bite, realises I haven't called for it, and raises the flag. I'm watching, I've seen the foul, but I'm letting them try and play an advantage. It was a little bit longer than I would have liked, and maybe the safe bet here would have been to play a free kick back there. But Forley go on the attack and are very close to getting a header in. What I've seen here, though, is number 8 questioning why that foul wasn't given. And I've said, look, I've given you an advantage. Let's play on. And what I miss here really is going back and talking to the number 9 and actually probably giving him a card. I think it was late enough that we can consider a yellow card here. But at least adopting the stepped approach and letting him know that he's on his last legs. In my head, I knew number 9. I knew his number. So I knew going forward into the second half that he would be someone on my radar, but using kind of a public admonishment here would have been really handy. It may have also helped my match control when it comes to Blue, because at this point in time, there's been 2 yellow cards and they've both been to Blue. So we're coming up to half-time now, and I just give another soft foul for a high foot here. Get a little bit lazy in allowing the Blue team to take it about 5 to 10 yards up the field. That's quite a lot, so I should get a little bit more proactive there in dealing with the placement of that free kick. But anyway, number 7 is about to put it into the box. It gets cleared by one of the defenders, and I blow up for half time. So the first half I feel was quite sporadic. There was a lot of injuries, a lot of the physio coming on, a couple of yellow cards. And I don't feel like I had the greatest of starts in that first half. But hopefully after a little 15-minute break, we can get into the second half and put in a slightly better performance. So the first 15 minutes of the second half go without a hitch. The players are playing better football, they're keeping it down, there's been a lot less challenges until now. There is a big challenge comes in from the defender, I'm able to play an advantage, but I have to come back and book the defender again for a reckless challenge. He accepted it, he realised he was late, and another one in the book again for Forley, the home team. So we're now about 63 minutes into the game, and the ball goes out for a fairly innocuous throw-in the right back position for Ash United, who are leading 1-0. You'll see a sub going at the ball for them. The player who picks it up throws it to another player, and he's taking a bit of time to get the ball into play. I'm starting to hear questions from the blue, and then all of a sudden he goes and swaps it with another player. To me, this delayed restart of play. I had been verbally warning him to speed up, he hadn't, so I decided to give him a yellow card for delaying the restart. As he walked off, he muttered something under his breath, little swear word or two, nothing like horrendous, but I called him back in with the skipper there and said, look, you're lucky this isn't a second yellow, calm it down for me. And again, that helped. It didn't meet my threshold for dissent, so we carried on and had no problem from him afterwards. And here's the last big challenge of the game in the 79th minute. The red defender plays the ball in the challenge fairly, but then follows through and catches the player recklessly. He's got a lunge on that challenge as well, so I thought that was reckless. I've got a very clear view on the challenge and decided to go straight for a yellow card. It was pretty stonewall to me. From the resulting free kick, the ball is cleared, and now we've got a counter-attack on the red Ash United come down the left-hand side. They play a ball through, which looks offside, and I feel a buzz on my receiver. I look over to my assistant, but he hasn't got the flag up. And then as the player strikes the ball in the back of net, I take one more look over to my assistant and the flag is up, so I call it for an offside. Now this is a great learning point for me when I tell my assistants around the buzzer, get them to buzz as they're flagging, not buzz and then raise the flag, because as you look over, the flag might not be there just yet, but you felt the buzz. So a really good thing for me to talk about with my assistants before the game in my pre-match. And just a few minutes later in the 85th minute, we've got another attack by Forley that gets cleared and another counter-attack. And I've included this just because I sprint in the last few minutes of the game. I think it's really important to show your fitness where you can. I don't think my positioning and fitness were great in this game, but to be able to replay and watch back that a sprint in the last few minutes of the game felt good, and a little tap on my back for that one. And literally a minute later, the same exact thing. So what you're starting to see is a very similar pattern of play, and I'm recognising it, and I actually get a quicker sprint in on this attack. Okay, so moving into the final minute of the game, I've added on 5 minutes. We're in the 4th minute of additional time. A few injuries, a goal, and a load of substitutions accounted for the 5 minutes. Nothing really there in terms of a challenge, and as we're going through, there's a careless, potentially stopping a promising attack, but because there's an advantage and the play carries on, we carry on, and a really great finish by the substitute for Ash United. I look down at my watch and we have just run over. I'm looking at the players. There doesn't seem to be a huge amount of animosity between the players, so I decided to call full time there and then. So that's the end of my first game as level 4. The second half felt so much more comfortable, so much better. I felt like I was actually completely in control of that second half, whereas in the first half I felt like it was starting to get away. My 2 assistants helped me flawlessly. I think there was only a few offsides, a couple of fouls that they gave, but worked really well with me. And as you'll see, a load of handshakes at the end of the game, which is all we really want. Loads of respect, even though maybe in the first half Forley were a little bit upset by some of my decisions. I thought it was going a little bit one way. They were very respectful at the end of the game, and both teams came over and shook our hands. So a great game. So in summary, I really actually enjoyed my first game as a level 4. The first half and during half time, I was quite frustrated with myself and I was a little bit worried. And then the second half, I just remembered how to referee. I think the first half I was refereeing the occasion that was really only for me, rather than the actual game in front of me. And in the second half, I calmed down and realised it was just another game of football and felt, like I said, much more in control, and much more just seeing the ball big, I guess, and seeing what was going to happen and reading the game a lot better. So much better second half performance. I think the things I need to work on is my positioning. Like I said, I was really narrow. I felt I wasn't reading the play enough to get into the right drop zones and to the right problem areas where I needed to be. I need a little bit more of an extra dynamic sprint just to be in that position rather than coasting into that position for some of the bigger incidents in the game. What was really interesting is when I looked at trends within REFSIX, I was able to see that this was the second highest distance I've covered in a game with 90 minutes ever. So it just shows you the additional physical exertion that needs to go into these games. And what kind of worried me when I look at my heart rate zones is I'm spending a lot of time in zone 5 and 4. So it's showing, and I get that when I have games where I'm observed. A lot of the games where I'm observed, my heart rate is a lot higher. I think it's due to the stress, and I feel like the element of this being such a big game, and I'd kind of worked it up in my own head, put another level of stress on me. So I'm hoping to see over the coming months, as I take on more games at this level, my heart rate zones come down. I start to feel a bit fitter. I work on my performance in terms of positioning. But overall, happy with my day out. And if you like this video, please make sure to comment, make sure to like, share it with a referee friend who you think might like it. Also check out our other vlogs. You'll see some old ones from me, but also John, who's a level 3 referee and a national group assistant referee, does a load of vlogs too. So check them out and I'll see you next time.